Have you noticed some changes in this world? Any signs of dangerous changes in the environment? Well, I have noticed a huge change on our Earth since the years of my youth. Well, if you haven't, then you're in the right place to find out what is affecting us and what is changing everything in this world that we good people live in, which is climate change. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always had interests about the future. Like, what will happen to our planet when I'll be older? What could possibly be awaiting us in the future generations? Well, I think that the time has come to investigate and observe this crisis that we people think is changing our planet, climate change. So let's take a quick recap about what has changed from the year I was born to the year of my 14th birthday. In 2010, the average global temperature was 14.63 degrees Celsius. And in 2024, the average global temperature was 15 degrees Celsius, which means that the average global temperature increased by 1.02% in 14 years. But I wonder what caused this change of climate? And is Mother Nature who's responsible for changing the climate? Or did we somehow change the climate? What do you think? Well, we do use a lot of greenhouse gas emissions, such as transportations, manufacturings, and so many other things that make our lives easier. What I've noticed is that all of the things that we people do are causing climate change. The gas that is being released from transportation, for example, such as planes, vehicles, and motorcycles, release carbon dioxide, which goes up into the atmosphere, warms it up, and the temperature of the atmosphere increases. Also, another gas that warms up the atmosphere that comes out of a cow's burp, food waste, and carcasses, called methane, which is way more toxic than carbon dioxide, is also one of the main reasons of global warming. The situation is also down to us, because not only do we raise too much cows to produce meat, but we also waste too much food. According to some famous sources, like Nature Climate Change, statistics show that people all around the world waste more than 12 tons of food a year. The thing that bugs me the most about climate change is that a lot of poor, innocent animals, such as polar bears, orcas, seals, are disappearing into thin air. And yes, when I say disappearing to thin air, I mean that they're endangered and might become extinct. And did you know that bees, those tiny little creatures in tiny bodies that live short lives, are the reason why we're all still alive, might become extinct too because of the disappearance of their habitats due to climate change? Picture the scene for a minute. A world with no bees, which means no plants, no fruits, no animals, and no people. Fruits and vegetables, one of the most important food types for our and the animals' healthy nutrition need bees, because the flowers need to be pollinated by bees in order to turn into fruits. An extinction of a little creature might lead to the disappearance of all animal species around the world, us included, and this is one of the biggest consequences of climate change. So how does climate change affect us? Nearly all land areas are seeing more hot days and heat waves. Like 2020 was one of the hottest years ever recorded. Higher temperature increase heat-related illnesses and make it harder to work and move around. Wildfires start more easily and spread more even quickly when conditions are hotter, which is happening in Central Africa and Australia. If we won't do something about it, then there's a possibility of wiping away all of the woods on Earth, and a lot of people in these continents will suffer and they will struggle to build homes and shelters. Changes in temperature cause changes in rainfall. This results in more severe and frequent storms. And they cause landslides and flooding, destroying homes and other landscapes, which cost a huge amount of money for repair. Statistics show that there's a high chance that the Maldives, one of the most beautiful places on Earth, might end up under the Indian Ocean due to the floodings by 2050. So about climate change, there has been a lot of changes since 2010. So according to the information, it might be true that climate change is real, and this is a reality check. But let's not give up now. There is still hope of stopping climate change, which is actually much easier than you might be thinking. First, try to eat less meat and dairy, because the industries use a lot of energy that produces carbon dioxide, and way more than the fruit and vegetable industries. That's why most people become vegetarian and/or vegan to prevent climate change. Second, try to economize and save your energy at home. Much of our electricity is powered by coal, oil, and gas. And use less heating and cooling, and wash your laundry with cold water or hang things to dry instead of using dryers. Third, walk or bike instead of using transportation. As I mentioned before, transportations that build diesel or gasoline release carbon dioxide, which warms up the atmosphere. Not only will your health and fitness improve after following this advice, but you will manage to decrease your carbon footprint. Personally, what I would do to help our Earth's environment and try to prevent climate change is to follow some or all of the advices that I just mentioned, and try not to forget to think ahead whenever I use things that cause climate change in my daily tasks. Because I don't want Mother Nature to suffer from this crisis, and that will be my reality check.